Hey guys, welcome back to a brand new video. I'm RexFinance, and today we don't have an option. I'm sorry, but we don't have an option. Today we have to talk about Bitcoin because Bitcoin's back to almost $42,000. Think of where you were a year ago on December 4th, 2022. Where were you? And what were you doing? I'd make a wild guess and say that a year ago on December 4th, you probably didn't think a year from then we'd be close to $42,000 per Bitcoin. If we go a year ago, Bitcoin was at $17,000. I actually remember this. People were freaking out. Oh, sub $10,000 is coming. Just look at the chart. Look at this. Look at that. Look at my TA. It's going to zero. Bunch of bogus. But naturally, as investors, with Bitcoin up 144% since then, we ask ourselves, okay, yeah, buying Bitcoin's a good way to make money on Bitcoin going up, obviously, but there's got to be even better ways out there. And in today's video, that's exactly what we're going to be talking about today. How to best capitalize on the price of Bitcoin going up. I've made several videos in the past of why I thought Bitcoin was going to make a bull run, and it's made a bull run. So we've been very correct in that. And in those videos, I referenced that I believe firmly that by the end of 2024, by the end of next year, Bitcoin could be at $100,000. So what would that mean if you own Bitcoin mining stocks? Well, year to date, let's just say Bitcoin is up 152%. The company that I own that mines Bitcoin is CleanSpark stock. Year to date, CleanSpark is up 344%. Almost 3x the return of Bitcoin this year. Marathon Digital, perhaps the most well-known Bitcoin mining company, is up 339% year to date. And RIOT Platforms, the second most popular Bitcoin mining company, is up 347%. Now, most of you probably think that the first Bitcoin mining stock I ever bought was CleanSpark a few years ago, but it's actually not true. I purchased RIOT Platforms back in 2017 or 2018. I can't remember exactly. I think the company started mining Bitcoin in 2018, and I purchased them right before they mined their first Bitcoin. I tried to find the exact details of that purchase that I made, 6 years ago? So I would have been 16 years old when I made that purchase. That's kind of crazy. But I couldn't find it. I couldn't log into my TD Ameritrade account to find it. But I remember my cost basis was in the $2 range. And I think I actually ended up selling it for $1 and something. So a lot of you might think, ooh, RexFinance was a genius when he was 16 years old buying RIOT Platforms. No, in fact, another one of the companies I bought back then was a company called High Crush Limited Partners. I bought them for like $5 and they went bankrupt. So... Oh, and another one, Chesapeake Energy Corporation, that went bankrupt. So I was 0 for 2, and then technically 0 for 3 if you count RIOT Platforms. But hey, for a 16-year-old being interested in the stock market, that's pretty good, right? But anyways, enough personal history, right? We're here to talk about Bitcoin mining stocks. And you'll see with all public companies, they have something called a beta, which I don't know. It doesn't show on the Google screen, but I know Yahoo Finance has it. So if you go to RIOT Platforms Yahoo Finance page, you'll see this beta number, 4.2. What that tells you is that RIOT Platforms has a 4.2 beta to the overall stock market. So for example, if the stock market goes up 1%, RIOT Platforms is going to go up 4.2%, and vice versa. If the markets go down 1%, RIOT Platforms is going to go down 4.2%. So beta, a high beta in particular, is a very double-edged sword where it's great when things are going well and we're in a bull market because you completely maximize your total returns in your portfolio, but it really, really stinks when we're in a bear market or simply just not in a bull market. The beta really, really hurts your portfolio, and that happened to a lot of Bitcoin mining investors over the last few years where Bitcoin has been in a bear market, the overall stock market's been in a bear market, so your portfolio has been in a bear market to say the very least. But something that I've done, and I don't think this has ever been done before, so good job me. I actually found the beta for these companies in relation to Bitcoin itself rather than the market itself. And based off the beta to Bitcoin number, we can figure out if Bitcoin goes up 1%, how much each of these individual companies will go up. So in today's video, I'll be showing you that information as well as breaking down why I own CleanSpark and why that's my personal pick. But I'll also talk about all these other Bitcoin mining stocks because I think they all could be great investments here for the next year or two. But before I get into that, I do have to mention the subscribe button below. Whenever I don't mention it, it's like people think it's invisible or it's not there, because whenever I mention it, we add a lot more subscribers than when I don't mention it. But yeah, please hit the subscribe button down below. It means a lot. I love seeing the new faces. Also comment down below what Bitcoin mining company you own or have your eye on and how many shares you own if you're comfortable sharing that information. Without further ado, let's go ahead and jump into this. So here on the screen now, you'll see a very, very simple table where, again, I found the beta to Bitcoin of each of these companies. I was not able to do all of these companies because, let me just show you. Let's go to Marathon's page. This is a lot of data that I had to go through and type in by myself to find the overall betas of these companies. So forgive me if your favorite Bitcoin miner is not on this list. I'll keep working to add them, but this takes a lot of effort and a lot of work, which, by the way, if you want access to this spreadsheet for whatever reason, it is available to my paid monthly members. We have the best community and the best membership, bar none. Asterisk, I am a little biased on YouTube. But please join below. Just hit the join button. It's located right next to the subscribe button, or hit my Patreon link in the pinned comment. But you'll see this is labeled last 7 days and since the beginning of 2023. So looking at this, since the beginning of 2023, the company with the highest beta to Bitcoin was Marathon Digital, which makes sense. They're the most well-known Bitcoin mining company out there, and their hodl balance, how much Bitcoin they have on their balance sheet, is far superior to almost every single other company out there, maybe other than MicroStrategy. So naturally, if Bitcoin prices go up, the value of Marathon's company, the market cap in the stock market, obviously is going to go up significantly as well because they own so much Bitcoin on their balance sheet. And if those assets appreciate in value, so does the value of their company. It's pretty simple, right? But actually, over the last 7 days, something interesting has been happening where CleanSpark has gone from the worst beta to Bitcoin to by far the best beta to Bitcoin. And CleanSpark just released their earnings report just a week ago, and that could have a lot to do with it. I'll also discuss in a little bit, JP Morgan has handpicked CleanSpark as their top Bitcoin mining holding. They have an overweight rating on them and like an $8 price target. So it's not just some random guy on the internet, some guy named RexFinance on YouTube that likes CleanSpark. It's also my friends over at JP Morgan. I've never met any of them before, but I still call them friends. But even still, you'll notice that the beta on all these companies has gone up, other than for Iris Energy and for Cypher Mining. Every single one of these companies, Hut8, TeraWolf, CleanSpark, RIOT, and Marathon, all of their betas have expanded over the past week, and there's a good reason for that. I'll have to switch back to Google here just to show you this. But it's because of the violence of this move in Bitcoin. Over the past 5 days, Bitcoin is up 11% alone. In the last 5 days, that is a very, very quick move. And if Bitcoin continues to make swift moves, it's very likely that the betas of these companies will expand even further. CleanSpark's beta will expand above 2.74. Marathon's will expand above 2.24. All of these betas will continue to expand if the violence of this rally continues. However, if Bitcoin just from here on out decides to just grind higher, take its time, and then by the end of 2024 hits $100,000, it's likely that these betas will expand slightly, but kind of find a footing and just hold still throughout the rest of 2023 and throughout 2024. So if the Bitcoin price rally continues to be a very, very swift move, the beta you're going to see from owning Bitcoin mining stocks, it's going to expand and you're going to benefit tremendously from this. So let's break this down again. Let's just use CleanSpark as an example because it's my personal pick and they have the highest beta over the last 7 days. For every 1% that Bitcoin appreciates in price, you should see a 2.74% return currently on your holdings in CleanSpark. So you can see very, very quickly how owning a Bitcoin mining stock is a leveraged play to owning Bitcoin itself. However, there is a catch, right? It's not just this simple. There's a catch here. Something that public companies have that Bitcoin doesn't have is a balance sheet and an income statement, which is why it's very important for us to look even further than just the betas of these companies. Because if you're not into the Bitcoin universe, we have what's called a halving event that's going to take place in April of next year, where the Bitcoin rewards that these companies get from mining Bitcoin get cut in half. Their Bitcoin production is going to be cut in half. If the price of Bitcoin doesn't appreciate enough, lots of these companies could go out of business. So I made another little spreadsheet here within the same spreadsheet. I made another table here, this time with just Marathon, RIOT, CleanSpark, Iris Energy, and Cypher Mining, where I break down the overall operating capacity, their target hash rate, the target efficiency, blended power costs, the total liquidity of each company, and then finally gross profit per exahash, which I think is probably the most important number. We've already stated that Marathon Digital is the largest Bitcoin mining company currently. And when you think about it, with Bitcoin rewards being cut in half for these companies, the more Bitcoin and the larger the operation that each of these companies has, the better when that halving event comes around, because they can withstand that much better than these smaller companies can. Which is why typically when people talk about Bitcoin mining companies, they talk about Marathon, RIOT, and CleanSpark, because they're the three largest in the industry, in the public space. So for me, when I look to invest in these companies, that already kind of takes Iris Energy and Cypher Mining out of the equation. These are very small operations, and there's a very good chance that these companies will be bought out sometime in 2024. And I personally think Cypher Mining is very attractive because of their current power contract. Right now, their blended power cost is 2.7 cents per kilowatt hour, by far the lowest out of anybody in this table. That makes a very, very attractive situation where obviously that boosts the company's gross profit. Their gross profit is the highest. But again, we need to look a little bit deeper here. We can look at the target efficiency of these companies, and you can see in joules per terahash that Cypher Mining has the highest number here. Higher numbers are not ideal. This means that despite Cypher Mining having very, very cheap power costs, they have the least efficient mining fleet out of any of these companies, which again, if you have less efficient miners when this halving takes place, it's really going to hurt you. So that's why I'm saying no to Cypher Mining. I think it's a potential buyout candidate next year just because of its cheap power costs. The next most profitable miner is RIOT Blockchain, who is seeing $66 million of gross profit per exahash. And then comes CleanSpark at $62 million gross profit per terahash. CleanSpark has a slightly more efficient mining operation than RIOT, but RIOT is the bigger company right now. And really, right now, CleanSpark is a value play. I know that sounds crazy when these companies are going to be growing their revenues at triple-digit percentages year over year, but CleanSpark is a value play because of how cheap it is right now in relation to these two other companies, Marathon and RIOT Blockchain. Furthermore, if you dig into the financials of Marathon and RIOT Blockchain, they have more debt on their balance sheet and they have more commitments and contingencies on their balance sheet than that of CleanSpark. CleanSpark is largely debt-free. If I recall correctly, they have about $25 million of debt, which makes their stockholders' equity number astronomical because of the total assets that the company has. So, with all this being said, is it worth it to buy Bitcoin mining stocks? And if you think I look different, it's because I do look different. I had to go into town to coach some high school basketball, coach finance. Yeah, anyways, enough of that. We talked a lot about the positives, but we can't forget that the super high beta with these Bitcoin mining stocks is also a negative. And so when you really assess the question if it's worth buying Bitcoin mining stocks, it really depends on your personal situation, if you already have money invested in Bitcoin, and a lot of different stuff. So in that being said, I'm not your financial advisor. I can't give you personal financial advice. I'm just going to tell you what I would do. Personally, you already know this. I've talked about it in this video. I own CleanSpark stock and I own Bitcoin itself. I own both. And I think Bitcoin is going to do very, very well over the short term and the long term. And as a result, I believe CleanSpark is going to do tremendous because they're very efficient. They execute. They have everything that it takes to be a successful company and a successful Bitcoin mining company long term. But I'm young. I'm 22 years old, so I can afford to take a little bit more risk. I'm not dismissing the possibility that Bitcoin doesn't do anything. You know, there's always a chance that Bitcoin might fail. And if Bitcoin fails, well, obviously my investment in Bitcoin could go to zero and my investment in CleanSpark could go to zero. That's just a risk I'm willing to take because I am young. And if I screw up, I have time to recover from here until the moment I retire. So it makes a lot more sense for me to take the risk of owning the Bitcoin miner to try and see some of that high beta upside than it might somebody watching this video if you're close to retirement age. If I was close to retirement age, I would not put my portfolio in Bitcoin mining companies. Instead, I would just buy Bitcoin itself. It's easy to get lost in the sauce. You know, the sauce is all the good things that come with high beta, high beta, high beta. Oh, you can see all of these huge returns, but we can't afford to completely ignore the other side of the equation. There is still tremendous risk investing in these companies. It's just a calculated risk that you need to decide if you're willing to take it or not. So with that, I'm going to end this video here. Keep 10 toes to the ground and your chin up. Remember to subscribe down below. Stay blessed. Have a great rest of your day. Peace out.